Hello. So can you hear me?
Yes, I
Okay,
can
so
hear you,
thank you.
Priya.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. So thank you for attending the webinar. Today, webinar will be on the library data quality management using Easylib version. So, and the feedback link will be sent at the end of the session. And if you have any queries, you can put your queries in the chat section so that it will be read out at the end of the session. So, I overhand to our speaker Vasudev Deshpande. So, can you carry on, sir?
Okay, all
Thank you,
right.
sir.
Thank you, Priya. Good afternoon, everyone. Good to see about 25 of you on this webinar. We have total about 50 attendees. This is a very specific topic, data quality management. So we are going to go deep into the concepts of the data quality, and I'll explain the exact agenda. I'm very happy that so many people have registered. Okay, so most importantly, this webinar, right, is applicable not only in the library context, in pretty much every context of your information technology usage. Okay, let's begin. So what we are going to cover in this webinar today is the first we will start with what is data quality management and why this is required actually. What is meant by data quality, what are the issues, why this is so important, all that we'll cover that. Then we'll briefly cover what are the issues that you face because of the data quality issues. Then we will cover why the data becomes bad and what are the requirements to maintain a good data, and we will cover the entire process flow to make the data quality good. And then we will go into the Easylib context, how Easylib will help you improve your data quality. Both we will go into the theory aspect as well as the practice. Okay, then we'll study brief details about this data quality, future trends, and all that thing. Okay, so let's begin. All right, so let's take this example. Let me see. And I think, okay, so many of you are all librarians, right? So let me keep the examples primarily for the libraries. So in your accession register or you're in the student's data, right? You have one simple example, you got the author of the book. Some places you have typed it as Ramesh V. Kumar. Some places Ramesh Venkat Kumar. Some other place you might have typed as Kumar Kama Ramesh, right? Then KV Ramesh, so um, the same person who is Ramesh Venkat Kumar in North Karnataka may be written as KV Ramesh in Mysore region. Okay. In some other places, you have only the the author's name in the beginning, that the V, then Ramesh Kumar. Right? It's all the same author itself. Right? But in your database, when you look at it, there are total 6 different Ramesh Kumars. So this is an example of having the different data representing the same person. So similarly, let's take the example of publisher. You have got Tata Microhealth, TMH, Tata Max Space Gross Hill, then TMH India, TMH Private India. This is an example, right? So there are two kinds of data. One is the structured data, what gets stored in your database, and the other one is unstructured data. The issues with the structured data are like this. Okay, let's go a little bit more into the details on this. So this was a simple way the typing was done, but it can be really complex as well. Say now you have enrolled a student, you have given a registration number from your college. The university now gives a different serial number. Fine, you go and modify the registration number. Now let's see what happens to the circulation history of all the books that are already issued to the previous registration number. Right? That is an example of a data issue. So you have all the books that are issued to student number XYZ001. Now university says that VTUCS 01523. That is the new number of the student. Are you going to reissue the books again? Are you going to modify the master data itself? What you are going to? That's an example of data issue. Now, another example. You got about 20,000 books. You withdrew about, let's say, 100 books. Right? Those books are no longer in your database. What should happen to the circulation data? Where will the history go? Right? Another example is you have got first edition, second edition, third edition. Now the fourth edition comes. So you want to see how many times this book was borrowed. Right? So you got to make sure that you combine all the previous edition circulation. That's another thing that you could address. Now, this third one, right? That happens in many colleges actually. You have cataloged different books, accession number 1, 2, 3, 4, but 3 may be the same titles. If you have entered correctly, it will say, okay, accession number 1. We in Easylib we call it as a title number having 3 copies. But if the care is not taken, you end up with multiple accession numbers, multiple titles of the same book. So if somebody asks you, okay, how many books you have got, right? You get the wrong data over here. One moment, I need to mute for a moment. Sorry about that. Okay, I'm back now. All right, let me go back to the presentation here. So you have got separate accession numbers for the same title, right? So now, if the title is not grouped with the accession number, you end up seeing that you got 20,000 titles, whereas the titles may be 8,000 and the number of accession may be 20,000. So you need to take care of that. That's another example of a data issue. And some, you also have subject, department, category, section rather, different ones. And then you move from one to another one. Then suddenly it becomes difficult to analyze, reconcile all of them. That's another thing. So basically, you in a environment, right? There's a lot of data. The data is the life of your software, right? So the better quality the data is, the better it is. So let's go a little bit more deeper into this. Unstructured data. User puts a comment on your OPAC, got spelling mistakes, right? So now another example, you want to upload the photographs of your students. So typically a photograph should be about 50 kilobytes, but you end up uploading 5 MB or 10 MB of the passport size photograph. Now suddenly the software becomes slow, right? And is the software having speed issues or is the data an issue, right? So that's another reason, where this unstructured data can cause issues. Then now you have one server, you neatly built your digital library with keeping that in server in the mind. Now that server crashed, you put in a different server, or you moved from Airtel to, let's say, Act Broadband, and your IP address changed. What should happen to all those broken URLs? That's another unstructured data issue. The classic example, right? You got, about 20 years back, video cassettes were ruling, right? Lots of movies, lots of documentaries, all of them were in the video cassette format. Now, we don't find the VCRs anymore. No VCRs, no VCPs. What happens to all the data stored in that format? It all becomes unusable. So these are unstructured data issues. Okay. Now, let's see why the bad data is not good, right? We saw the different examples. Simple, whatever you feed in your system, this middle one is the system. Whatever you feed in the system is what you get in terms of the reports and other things. So if you have the data which is not managed well, you end up in a different issues of incorrect and mismatched reports. So at one place you get 20,000 accession numbers, another place 19,500, another place 19,800. It becomes a little confusing. Then second one is delay in getting the right info. You have the audit coming up and 3 different reports and you are not able to correct the correct one. It's a lot of anxiety. So that's another issue. Third one is if your data is not correct, right, it becomes very difficult to do a full analysis. And it becomes very difficult to get the meaningful insights. So suppose if you want to know how popular this particular publisher, if your publisher data is not fed in properly and you have got TMH, Tata McGraw-Hill, Tata Max Space Graw-Hill and differently, and then you will not be able to get as a publisher how popular is TMH. So that's an example. So difficult to get the meaningful analysis, do a meaningful analysis and get the insights. Okay. By the way, this particular topic, right? the data quality management is more heavy on the theory today. Okay, and then probably about 45 minutes I'll take on the entire presentation covering the concepts, practices, and all that. Last about 15 or maybe 30 minutes we'll go into the Easylib demo, and then last again another 15-20 minutes questions. Okay, hope you are finding it interesting so far. Okay. Now let's come back to the basics. How this data quality becomes bad, right? The day you deploy your software system, as good as a fresh, newly born child, right? Very clean, beautiful, everything is great. Now, over the days, months, years, you feed good food, you get perfectly fit person, and you feed bad food, not you as per se, the process itself, if the bad food, bad data is fed, end up in bad quality. Okay, so what is this fast food? We will see those things. The equivalent of food, right? That goes in utilization of the system, right? So simple example, fast food is doing things in hurry burry. Right? Here, taking caution to make sure that the good data is fed. That's an example here. So over the period, the way the child becomes either a fit or a fat person, you also have the system quality very high or medium or low quality. Okay, let's go further deep into that. Let's deep dive different reasons why the data quality becomes bad with or without information. The issue with this data quality is that you will not know suddenly is everything is wrong. It's not like that. Gradually it keeps building, right? So it's just like increasing our weight. We would not suddenly grow from 50 kg to 60 kg within a day, right? Gradually we put on weight. The data quality also can become good or bad. The very first reason why the data quality becomes bad in many cases is the lack of attention and focus at the entry level itself. Okay, so you have got 5 or 6 staff doing the data entry. Everybody is working parallelly. They have got the target to, let's say, enter about 100 records per day or maybe 500. So all their goal is to finish the data entry, right? The inaccurate data entry could creep up. Spelling mistakes could be there. Wrong numbers will be there. Missing information. Some fields are left blank as is, right? How do you prevent that? I think the primary method is that lot of attention, right? At the source of the data itself, if you make sure that the data quality is good, the heartburn at a later point can be greatly reduced. Okay, that is the first reason why the data can be bad. Second one, lack of awareness. ISBN, definitely now, whenever we are using a system like Easylib or any other one, we are always entering ISBN, right? But when you are maintaining the book, you may or may not have maintained the ISBN. At that time, probably 50% of the books or 80% of the books did not have ISBN. So in your library, the ISBN is not part of the accession register. It's simple, the genuine lack of awareness. Fair enough. Third one, lack of monitoring, right? So best example is the comments. So whenever you read a news article or whenever your student reads a book, he wants to put a comment. Whatever he puts in gets into your database. If he puts in junk, junk gets in. So how do you prevent that? Maybe monitoring is one of the solutions. Then another one, lack of standards, right? You got ISBN. Are you entering the ISBN as 91-123-456 or are you entering the whole sequence? So either is okay. This is also okay. This is also okay. But you want to maintain a consistency there, right? So that's lack of standards another reason why the data becomes bad. Then phonetics issues. Okay, so now here I have taken an example of Shambhasawa, right? One person. So the same person can be written with a space in between, or one word, or there could be a missing A over there. It's the same person, but the way we say it in our database, there are 3 different entries for the same person, right? It's a huge issue in many of the cases where the person is same, the data gets entered differently, right? So, so the next one, language barrier. Many of us are from the local language, Kannada, Telugu, Hindi, whatever language we have learned. So if I am a 5th grade or 6th grade, you go and ask a 5th grade students, write the spelling of psychology. Most likely he will write as SAIKOLOJI, right? For him, psychology spelling should be like this. But The real spelling of psychology now is Psychology, right? No way somebody who is from a different language background will immediately understand what is the correct spelling of psychology. So that's another reason why the data gets bad in your database. By the way, we don't have to feel bad about a lot of these, because this is the way the things are there. And I will tell you, no organization in the world, starting from the smallest organization to the multi-billion dollar, trillion dollar organization, including Walmart, Google, Apple, everybody will have the data quality issue. So it's just that how do we make sure that our data quality is constantly getting better is what we need to focus on. Okay. Now coming back to the language barrier, right? Today also I have seen in Bangalore, coffee shop is written as KAAFI. Some places coffee, that's good, right? All right. Now truncation errors, especially in some parts of India, right? Andhra Pradesh, the name of the person may be, Varaha Narasimha Shama Shankara Lakshmi Narayana Gupta. But in your database, you don't have that much space. You enter only as VNSSL Gupta. Right? So, but in some places, it may be written as Varaha Narasimha SSS Gupta. Somewhere else, it may be written as VNSS Gupta. Some places, it may be written as Narasimha Gupta. It all depends. It's a truncation error that you see. Okay? All right. So not only in India, in everywhere, it's the problem. In US, Gerald Ford and Jerry Ford. Gerald, Jerry. Both are same many times. Okay. Nicholas, Nick. It's a short form. All right. So the truncation error, the interpretation errors will all be different. Now, this is another interesting one. Multiple valid names. The data is all correct. You go to airport, Bangalore is called BLR airport. You go to railway, Bangalore railway station is SBC. Now, earlier it was Bangalore, now it is being Bengaluru, right? For Bangalore itself, there are 4 cases now, and all of them are valid. And myself, whenever I'm trying to book an aeroplane ticket, I have tried to book a ticket from SB to Delhi, SBC to Delhi, then it says that SBC is not a valid code. Then I realize, oh, no, I have to enter BLR. Similarly, while booking the flight or train ticket, I tried to book from DL to BLR. It says the BLR is not a valid train station, right? So this is another reason why the data could be wrong. And no system is wrong, but the way the data is stored in multiple systems is the cause of data quality issue. All right, let's continue that. This is a pretty important one, so I'm spending a good amount of time over here. The next one is system limitations, right? So the way the computers are designed, right? Apostrophe if you put, okay, like Gray's Anatomy. Gray, Gray, and then apostrophe you put, probably some places the software is not designed to handle apostrophe, right? Because that requires a special format in which the data field is defined. That could be a case. And if you put and, the system may crash. These are the software limitations which could cause issues. No validation. This is the reason for most of the data quality errors today. Date can be entered as, if you are entering 12-June 2020, or you can add 12/6, or you just add it as YYYY That's another reason. Data getting truncated. It's a major issue, especially I face in the bank, right? So a lot of our customers, you pay us the money, and then it says that 40 characters, we get that. Transaction number XYZ so and so, and check number so and so, or the NEFT number so and so, and it ends. While depositing the money or doing the NEFT, you might have entered the full details. But what comes in our bank transaction is only 40 characters come, which is not sufficient enough to tell which college the thing has come, right? Now, so fortunately, some of the banking systems are changing. Especially the newer banks have got that larger one, 120 characters. So I am happy that that problem is nowadays reduced. Okay, earlier this was an issue. All right. So now inter-system transfers. That's another issue over here. First name becomes last name becomes first name. This is, you don't have to go too far. I have one of my cousins studied in Maharashtra, came to Karnataka. His first name became last name became first name. In Maharashtra, in their SSLC certificate, they put the first name as they put the last name as the first one, then they put the first name. In Karnataka, it's the other way around. So when the data was transferred from there to here, it became reverse, right? So this is the inter-system transfer that could be the reason for the error. Static data, right? You spend about 10,000, 20,000, 50,000 rupees to develop your website, beautiful website, and if you don't maintain, it becomes obsolete, right? So that's another reason. Dormant data. You put effort, do a lot of analysis, and then if you don't do the reanalysis again, it keeps on becoming outdated. That's another data quality, right? So whereas all these 1 to 13, right, are the issues gradually, the 14 and 15, I would say many times put by ourselves only. And despite knowing that the data is bad, we see that the data is not good. We want to fix it, very genuine interested, but then we'll say, look, I don't have enough time. Let me fix it next week. Or let me hire one new staff and then fix it, right? And by the time you allocate your time, get a new staff, the problem with this much would have become this much. So that's another reason why the data quality becomes bad. The last one is the waiting for perfection. Because some places, whenever the data was bad, right, the answer sometime I get, oh, we are going to get a better software system. Software can help you only organize your data. It may even provide good validations, but it's not going to fix your bad data, right? You got to fix your bad data by yourself. Software can only provide the value addition to either prevent the errors or fix the errors, or to some extent do an automatic fix. To some extent, not always. So definitely you don't want to go with the perfection, but I see that the waiting for perfect time, perfect system, perfect resources is the one which unfortunately causes the data to go bad. All right, let me pause for a moment. Have a glass of water. All right. Okay. So far, what we did, we studied examples of the bad data. Then we studied what is the issue with the bad data. Then we studied the basics of how the data can become good or bad, how it is in your control. Then we saw some of the reasons why the bad data gets growing in your system. And now we are going to what can be called as a good data, right? So let's see here. The first rule is the consistency. Consistency. If you are calling Varaha Narasimha Lakshmi Narayana Gupta as VNSSL Gupta, everywhere you call by the same name, right? If you want to have a different name, maybe define it as a separate field, full name or extended name. That way you will not get confused. So the consistency is what you want to maintain. That is the good first quality of the good data, right? So how do you see how much is wrong your data? You want to run a few queries to see how many times it is mismatching, right? Say, for example, if you have got in one register, the name is another register, the name is small. You want to run a query to find how many places the error is there. Okay, that is how you ensure or rather measure how bad is your or how good is your data. The second one, accuracy, right? So that is the most important thing when it comes to the stock, right? You got 20,000 books. Your data should show that, okay, we have 20,000 books, out of that 15,000 in the general category, 3,000 in the reference book, 1,000 in the book bank, and another 500 in donate, all those things, right? And if you have withdrawn about, let's say, 200 books, they should have been properly withdrawn. So now, for example, if you move those withdrawn books into a separate category and keep it, so in that case, if at all you want to run a query and then get the real number, right, you get into an issue here because the withdrawn books are not really withdrawn, but they are put in a different category, right? So it becomes a judgment call on what exactly you want to do. So as long as you're consistent in doing everything, if you are saying that, okay, all the withdrawn books will be put in a separate category always, that's perfectly fine. But if you mix it up, then you get into the accuracy issue. Okay? So how do you measure how accurate is your data? The ratio of full data to the erroneous data. Okay, so say for example, out of the 20,000 books, if let's say 500 books need to be recategorized, right? So that it means that basically like your error ratio is 2.5%. So the ratio of full data to the erroneous data, the other way around. Okay, all right. Third quality of the good data is the data is complete, right? So if you have a student data, you want to make sure that you have the data related to first name, last name, the name, his father's name, mother's name, email, phone, photograph, all those things. Whatever is required, you want to maintain that, right? So all of this is characteristic of good data. The bad data is missing fields. Many times we see that address column will be there. Some students have the address, some have the blanks. Now, it may not be an issue until and unless you require it, right? So that's an example of this bad data where the data is not fully complete. So there you want to measure, okay, there are total 50 fields in for each student, and out of that 10 are mandatory, and out of the 10, let me find out how many are missing. So 10 are mandatory and 2 are missing, 2 of them don't have the data, then probably what it means that 2 out of the 10 is having wrong data. Okay, next one is auditable. Okay, let me switch off the UPS just a moment. Okay, now this auditable. What does this auditable means? All the data that gets into your system, right, comes from a certain source, right? When the student gets admission to your college, the entry is made in your software based on what he has filled in the application form. So the application form is your source of the main data. When a book comes into your accession register, it's primarily coming through the delivery challan or a purchase order that you have issued, delivery challan that a vendor has given to you based on the purchase order. So all of those should be matching. So if you have got 20,000 books and 19,500 are purchase books, 500 are donated books, right? You need to have some kind of proof. Somewhere you want to mention who gave the donation, what date he gave, and some relevant information. Then it becomes easy. Otherwise, you will find out, oh my God, we got 20,000 books. Purchase history is only 19,500. How did we get this 500? Right? See, as long as you are managing the library, this becomes not an issue. But when you move to a different role, or somebody else is taking that particular role, right? He will be confused. He'll say, okay, PO says only 19,000, the actual number of books is 20,000. It just doesn't know where the issue is. So that issue is because of the lack of auditability. Okay, so again here you want to mention, make sure that you measure number of untraceable entries of data to make it appropriate. The next one, orderliness, following the standards, right? Certain standards for every book you want to follow. Okay, if this is the book, you want to make sure that you put your strength to work. This is the complete title you want to put, and then here you want to put 6 powerful steps to achieve outstanding performance in the subtitle, right? So now, if you don't follow the standards, you may end up putting the entire thing in your title itself instead of splitting the title and subtitle. Similarly, you may ignore altogether subtitle. So that is the kind of issue. And many times the date format, right, is an issue that we see everywhere, right? Especially Microsoft Excel expect that by default that the date form is MMDDYYYY, whereas in India we follow the DDMMYYY, right? So that's why always I recommend that when you are entering the data, enter it like in DDMMMYYY, something like that. Okay, either is okay. You just follow the standards, right? Now uniqueness. Sixth character is uniqueness. So the title of the book should be stored in only one place. The name of each student should be stored in only one place. Everywhere else, you only refer to either the accession number or the registration number of the student. You don't want to keep on duplicating the same name of the student in another 10 places. Like, admission time, the student name is duplicated. Then once the admission is made, you enroll into a particular grade. Again, the name is entered. The library data again has a name. Examination form has a name. the certificate has a name, and over the time, right, gradually the errors start creeping in. So finally, the certificate may end up with totally different from what has been the admission record. So how do you avoid that? You try to maintain a unique source of information, right? So that is one crucial thing. And now one question you may ask is that the software is not one, right? How do you fix it? That's a very valid question, because you know what? The admission system is one software, the library system is another software, the examination is another software. How do you make sure that all of them are in sync? Right? We will go into that detail a little bit. Okay. All right. So that's the uniqueness. Then the last two. The first one is, the seventh one is the timeliness. You want to make sure that your data is always up to date. Right? So let's say the student says that, okay, my email has changed. This is the new email ID. You want to make sure that you change it everywhere. You change it in your library system. You change it in the campus automation system. And in case you are maintaining a separate email for the mass mailing, so you change there, you change everywhere. So that's the timeliness. How do you measure whether your data is timely or not? You want to make sure, you want to measure something like how long you are taking for updating all the systems. In a in an ideal world, the moment I put a new email ID, it should change across all the systems where this email ID is there. But in reality, it may take 2 days, 5 days, and some places it may not even get updated, right? So you want to make sure you mention this delayed changes metric. And the last one I added is a context sensitive, right? Here is one example. Those who can read this Kannada can see this. It says, road work in progress, inconvenience regretted. This is a board. I even took a picture. There was a construction going on, and this board was put in Kannada somewhere. Now imagine this. The one who reads Kannada, road work in progress, inconvenience regretted, he does not understand English. Right? And the one who can understand this, let's say he doesn't read Kannada. He can understand. If somebody reads, he will understand what it means. But he doesn't even read Kannada, right? So now what you have displayed over there, it's simply out of context. So what you want to make sure is that whatever the data that you store is context sensitive. It's appropriate as per the language, culture, location, and all that. And especially this becomes important. The 100% thorough data is only a dream picture. Even in the mark standard, right, we have the ability to something like 800, 900 fields for a book. But are you going to enter all the 800? No, right? So what you want to do is you want to define 10, 20, 15, or whatever you want to enter. Make sure that your data is thorough with respect to the scope that you have defined. So you want to keep the audience in the mind. And you also want to make sure that the ROI is calculated. We'll go into that ROI part. But it's basically defining what you want to do and doing what you have said you will do. All right. So how do you measure this? Number of irrelevant items in your database. Okay. So this is another data quality thing. So we covered 8 characteristics of the data quality. And by the way, this presentation will be made available. It will be posted onto our website. If you want to understand this more, definitely you can see the video often. It's when you go to www.easylib6.4a.com, go into the trainings and webinar section, you will see the history of all webinars. All the PPTs are uploaded there, as well as all the videos. Okay, feel free to go ahead and use this PPT. That's perfectly fine. And where we have taken the information from elsewhere, there is a reference section also. You can also read. Okay. All right. So now we covered data quality requirement, total 8. Let me recap. This is so important. First one is consistency. Second is accuracy. Third is complete. Fourth is it should be auditable. Fifth is orderly. Sixth is it should be unique. Seventh is timely. And eighth is context sensitive. All right. So how do we fix the data? Why I am coming to this? It's almost impossible for somebody to have the perfect data. Everywhere there is a scope for fixing the data, making the corrections. So how do you want to do? One thing you want to realize is that data quality management is a humongous task. It can be humongous. It can be small task. It can be huge task. Second thing is that the software can help you fix the data, but the software itself is not the solution to give you the correct data, because the data gets fed by humans, right? That's why you want to improve the quality of the data, or you should improve the quality of the data. Where you start is first acknowledge the problem. That is the first step. Many times, if you think that, okay, my data is perfect, probably that may not be the case. You want to really go and validate and then make a call whether my data is 80% thorough, 90% thorough, or even 99%. First, acknowledge that there could be an issue, bring in the necessary seriousness, form a team to improve the quality of the data. You know, how do you get why do you need to do this exercise, right? So you might have heard this tip of iceberg. Let me give an example of this tip of iceberg. Okay, so this is important concept. Okay, by the way, we have 59 people. That's very good to see. So tip of iceberg. Let me go into this image directly. So what it means, the image that you are seeing here, right? This is iceberg. Here what you are seeing is a small portion, but the iceberg is so big down below. What it means is that if you are seeing one error on screen, probably there are 10 errors which you don't know about. Right? So very little portion is visible on the screens, but the real problem may be big. So what you want to do is just you want to make sure that find out if there is a problem that you are seeing, go to the root cause of where could be the problems, and it starts with acknowledging that there could be problem. Okay, so once you acknowledge that, you want to form a team there. You don't want to directly jump into it, because it can become really overwhelming. You got about 1 lakh books, and if the data is not that great, very difficult for one person to fix. You want to have dedicated 1 or 2 team members, dedicated team. Okay, then last thing is you want to calculate the ROI. Is it worth it or not? Very important, right? So now, if your data is going to be most used, that should be the highest priority. If the data is not at all used, then it may not be. So you find out how much of effort you want to put in and how much of ROI you are expecting over there. So that little bit of prioritization and acknowledging the context is so important over here. So once you do that, then you start the exercise of finding the thresholds. So go back over here, find out how much focus you want to put on consistency, on the accuracy, complete, auditable, how much, it could be that whether you want the data to be 80%, 70%, 99%, you define those thresholds. And you also find out how you are going to find those errors. I will give you some examples, then you can understand it better. But definitely the second step is define the thresholds. If you know, say a simple example is books not with ISBN. That could be a simple example we are taking. 20,000 books we have, and let's say none of the books in the accession register have got ISBN. Let me ask a question. Why ISBN is required? The moment ISBN has, Easylib software has an ability to automatically display the image of the book, provided it's cataloged somewhere. So now you have 2 choices. Either you go and scan each front page of the book and then add it to your accession register, or make sure that you have entered the ISBN so that software can get the image of the book and display on OPAC. So you want to add the ISBN, right? So now you make a call whether you want to have it for 50% of the books, 60%, or 100%. So somewhere you define the threshold and the element what you are going to fix. You want to fix the ISBN. You want to make sure that all the email IDs are there for each student. The mobile numbers are correctly put in the format. By the way, this format becomes so important. See, some of the WhatsApp tools, automatic WhatsApp tool, expect that all our phone numbers in India begin with 91. If I put only the certain number, 9, 10-digit number, it's good enough for most other systems. But when you want to do that automatic WhatsApp, it doesn't work. So you want to define what are the elements you want to fix. So that is and to what extent, that is threshold level. Third one is you go now deep dive into your software. You run the queries. Run a query, select all from this one, show me the books which doesn't have the ISBN. Show me the ones which don't have email, where the email is not in having that 11 or 12 digits, right? So those kind of queries you find, come up with the data. While doing that, you also want to find out where the data got in. Okay, if your system is such that you are getting a feed from your campus automation, getting added to Easylib, and if the campus automation is not sending the 11 digit or 12 digit of the phone number, no way Easylib automatically will have the 12 digit, right? So one of the things as you identify the error is that talk to the other systems to make sure that they send the full data. So identify the source, identify the root cause why the error is occurring. So when you do this right, whether even if you don't cover the fifth and sixth step, at least the problems will be cut. The problem will not grow further, right? So that is the third step here. Now, the real work of fixing your data. How do you fix the data? One example is use the screens to fix the data. Otherwise, run some queries. Or if I will show you some of the tools that we have developed in Easylib to update the data at a en masse. Okay, different tools you can use it. Right? So all of these things you actually fix your data. The last one is monitor how your data quality is there. Control it if at all there is an issue, and then you got to bring it and keep it under the control. And I did not put there again. You want to calculate the ROI there here. You put lot of effort, fix all the email IDs. Great. That will help you only if you have the mechanism to send an email alert whenever the book is due. Right? And having a good email ID for all your students is good and meaningful when you are having the email system. When you don't have the email system, it may help in future, but is it helping now? Right? So you want to question those things. So that way you monitor and control your data. So this is a cycle by itself. And this cycle may not end also. Because you start first year, first month, you fix all the student data. Like, email, phone number, photograph, all that you fix. Next month, you take the task of fixing all your periodical data. Next, you take the data of all the subscriptions are accessible. Then you make sure that all your URLs are proper. Then you make sure that all your ebooks are properly uploaded. Then you make sure that you are not having too much of junk in your server. Then you make sure that you go to the ISBN and then make all your catalog is properly. Catalog coming to the last. It's up to you. How do you want to do that? But just you define your priority and then fix that thing. So this can go for a few months also, this data quality management process flow. And here, the companies like us, right, it could be Easylib or anybody else, can make your life easier. But definitely fixing the data will be the librarian's team's primary responsibility will be the staff itself. Okay. All right. So now, so far we understood the theory of all the data quality management. Now, from Easylib, what are we doing to make your life easy? The first thing that we have done is we have tried to make identification tools. Develop a few identification tools so that you will at least find out there could be errors in your data. Right? Again, Easylib itself has got about 500 tables and different entities. Your accession is an entity, student data is an entity, the publishers are an entity, the distributors are an entity, the categories, all different things are there. So what we have done, we have written different screens which will help you find what is the error with your data. It may not be full, but definitely based on the priority, we have developed quite a few screens. Then we got a lot of customized reports. You can take 2 reports and then compare whether your data is correct or not. Right? The advanced level itself is easy itself. Compare this data, tells this is wrong. That may be your next enhancement in Easylib. Right? But right now, at least you get this report, then you get this other report. If at all there is a mismatch, then probably somewhere the data is having misses. Right? So that's the customized report. Similarly, the customized statistics. The reports and the statistics difference is that reports give the real full data. If there are 10 records, it will list out all the 10 records. The statistics will just display 10, right? So that is the customized statistics. So this is the identification tool. Second thing that what we have done in Easylib is preventing the errors. How do we prevent? Lot of places, right? There is a drop down. Publisher, there is a drop down. Vendor, there is a drop down. There is a category. All of these are different drop downs, right? And it is not easy to develop a drop down screen because it also means that we maintain another master table, and every time there is a search, it should go and search that, and whenever you are in OPAC, it should go and check from there also, Okay, but it is definitely worth it because it makes sure that the data quality of yours is really good. It definitely is good. So simply we could have just left the publisher as free flow. Then instead of the TMH, right, instead of 5 or 6, we may end up with 50 of them. Tata McGraw-Hill, Tata Space McGraw-Hill, all those things. But here, at least the drop down has prevented. And here, even with this also, we could see that the errors were there. The reason was that during the first original data entry, the different 6 people were doing the data entry, all of them ended up doing differently. And when we merged, all of them remained as different ones. So in the next version, I'll show you what we have done, okay, in Easylib right now. So preventing the errors, use most of the drop down. Then there is a validation, like date field should not accept non-date. A number field should not accept character. Data integrity checks, right? So I should not be able to issue a book to a student who is no longer a student. So that is called a data integrity, right? And then last one is help you get the data from different data sources. Like I'll show in the accession register. Those who are attending this first time have not seen Easylib accession register. There you see that okay, you just put the ISBN, click a button, it connects to the union catalog and then gets the data. So that way the probability of bad data is less here. Okay. Next is correction tools. Quite a few correction tools we have built, both by different fields as well as the bulk. Okay, different bulk correction tools are there. And a limited intelligence tool. Why I'm saying that limited intelligence, when I say real intelligence, the software itself should go and run because all the data is in the software itself. So you click a button, it should go and find this table, this table, this table, tell that this is wrong, and then you click one more button, it should all fix it. That is a dream system, right? So definitely that's way too high. But right now, we do have certain intelligence actually. Okay. The last one, prevent error growth. How do you prevent error growth? One thing is that rather than entering all the data, right? So you are able to import the data. Then through the customized reports, right? Because the customized reports get you only take only whatever you want, not everything. Because you have got 50 fields in your report, very easy to miss what is wrong with the 49th field. But Easylib makes your life easy by giving take only the field number 1, field number 9 in your report or 49, then do in Microsoft Excel, you can put it and then see if there is any error in mismatch in that. If something is odd man out, then you can fix it. So customized reports can help. Then the last one is the APIs for data transfer. So the API is here example, right? We are calling this Google API to get the title, author, subject and all that. Similarly with OCLC and Library of Congress and all that. So there are a lot of APIs already developed and also being developed in Easylib. So if you have 3 systems, right? So the accounting system talking to Easylib system. So accounting system calls an API with all the details and Easylib will access it and vice versa. So that's another API. So these are different things that we have already done in Easylib. I'll show you. And again, as much as it's your effort to clean up and make your data quality better, for us also it's a huge effort because we got to keep on providing this differently, the different screens, where the work is already going on in a good speed. Okay. All right, this is the last slide. Okay, so the trends in this area, where the things are going. As I said earlier, the data quality issue is not just the library's problem. Every company, every area, it could be financial, it could be manufacturing, it could be a technology, educational, insurance, every company has the data issue. So one of the things that is coming is the master data management. So master data, what it means is that it's like a union catalog of the data for your organization. So anytime you need to maintain the student data, that is the particular system where the student master data is maintained. Name, information, email, all that is maintained there. So anytime a student needs to change his email ID, he will only change there. And rest of the systems will automatically get a feed. So that way you don't change here, 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 here. 10 systems you don't change. You only change in the master data management, which is also called system of records or the system of truth. And the system of engagement is where the issue return and those things happen. Okay. So if we were to make Easylib into 2 parts, right? So one part is the system of records where the cataloging, the student information is all system of records. System of engagement is all the circulation, issue, return, OPAC and all that will come into picture. Okay, so that is the new thing that's already popular in most places, master data management. Then the next one is the data warehouse, right? Here in the data warehouse, this just what you are doing is you collect the data from all different places, denormalize them. You don't store only the publisher code, you store the full publisher name, full vendor name, full the complete title, author, and all that is stored over here. That you use it for extracting the insights. Okay, that's slightly more, this is beyond this data quality. The management, but data warehouse is a big concept because it separates the system of records with the system of engagement with the reporting system, right? So those of you who are using already Easylib 6.2, 6.4, right? Whenever you go to customer reports, right, customized report, you see a little pop-up coming saying that the data is refreshed. What we are doing is within Easylib software, we have built a certain data warehouse. It goes and gets the data from different sources, builds the data warehouse within the 2 or 3 minutes. And on that, the reports are generated. So that way, your master system, the main system is not overloaded, but instead all the reports are only from the data warehouse. Okay. So the new one is coming up now. That's called a data lake. This is just hardly 1 or 2 years old. Okay. So the in the data warehouse, you get the data and store it. But in the data lake, what you do is you collect the data, you organize the data, you analyze and you infuse and make it richer and richer, right? So the different steps are collection, standardize, get all the data properly standardized. Some 10 systems could be standing, that you standardize it. You clean the data also. You replace all the dashes with the spaces, all special characters you remove, all that kind of stuff. Data preparation, all that. And that is the one which will feed into your behavior extraction, feature extraction, model it, machine learning, analytics. If you want to get intelligence of how your organization is doing, then this data lake will be of help. But all of this, the input is your data quality. If you have good data quality, all the systems will work beautifully. Otherwise, your data cleansing effort will become much bigger. So the best thing is make sure that you feed the good data, and if you find that the data is not good, you put a good effort in keeping the data clean. Okay. Now let's go into the Easylib demo to understand some of these things. Okay. This is the picture of the Easylib website. This is the Easylib demo site. Here is our team in Bangalore. Okay. And further go down. Okay. All right, let me log into the real system. Okay, so now we are at 252. All right, let me see how many we have in the webinar now. Okay, good to see 59 people. So, not hearing audios. Is the audio not clear? Srujan, can you confirm? Is the audio clear? Okay, that's good. Maybe, madam, you may just want to see what I have observed is that whenever I had this audio issue, right, you just plug out the headphone and then put it back in, it should work. Okay. All right. Mohan Kumar says no issues. Okay, that's good to hear. All right. So the questions you have, please keep posting the questions. This is definitely, as per my understanding and in discussion with a lot of the professionals, both in the library science academics as well as the practitioners, right? The data quality is something that probably need to be given more stress. So I am thinking that probably many of these are new concepts. If yes, that's good. So do keep posting the questions. We'll answer at the end. Okay. All right. Let me go to the Easylib demo now. Okay. So for that, very simple. You just click on demo.easylib.net. You get the new screen over here. All right. So here I log in as my user ID. This session, definitely we are not going to go into the entire Easylib system because our focus right now is only the data quality fixing. Okay. And just one attention I want to catch. So this is the new thing that has come up over here. This is the branch library concept. Some of you might not have seen earlier. So here itself, you can search what are the books in different branches of the library. Okay. So here you're just searching on Bangalore, North, South and all that. So still testing is going on. So his alignment is not good and all. Okay. And now this is the portion where this particular college or the sample data, we have the ISBN fed in here. So it is getting the picture of that book. Okay. Now let's go into the portions. So what I will do is I'll open the PPT on the other side. try to go in the same way this one says. Okay, let me make it little bigger here. The first one was identification tools, right? We want to identify what's wrong in the data. So what we have done is that, just click on it. So some of the data quality tools are part of the reports. Some of them are through the modules. And we have also added a new module called data quality management. Okay. So here what it says is that if I go here, so books with no title. So we have, it easily also gives an ability to say, okay, what is the minimum title length? So in hurry, if you buy you buy March 31st, you need to catalog all the books, right? So you don't have enough time. ISBN is also not there. So what you do, you just put A and then enter this, right? So then later you want to fix it. So the software helps you find out, okay, if at all you have not entered the title for the books. No author. How many books with the no author? Dot export. Okay. How many books with no class number? This is a book. All these are the books. When you go into the accession register, right, you will not find the class number entered over here. Let me go into the test 1, 2, 3. So let me parallelly log in here also. Zero, 005 or 6, right? Something like test 1, 2, 3 was there, right? Oh, yeah. So this one, test 1, 2, 3, and call number, class number are not there. So software has identified that, okay, you have cataloged this book without a class number. Books with no ISBN. Publisher, books with no publisher, year, and all that place. Then books with no location, right? So you want to make sure that for every book there is a proper location, but we are not fed, right? So the software is telling that this particular book doesn't have the location. So built-in tools find errors. So that is how this screen is particularly constantly upgrading. I know this portion is constantly getting enriched, and so far we are here. Now let's go to the next one. Here it says what? The customized reports, right? So what here you can do, you can just go over here, customize reports, again menu, catalog and accession name. And if you want to take the reports from here, customized report, catalog or the books, I go here. I just want to, no, this is what, now you see that the blue ball coming, right? It's now trying to generate the data warehouse of your accession register. In the Easylib 4.4, this was not there. Okay, so that is the reason Easylib 4.4, when you load about 70,000-80,000 books, right, the reports are taking quite a few places, 5 minutes, 10 minutes to get the report. But here, let's look at this. This is pretty fast. Within 1 or 2 minutes, 1 or 2 seconds, or maybe maximum 1 or 2 minutes, you'll get this report. Just 2 seconds, right? I just put from accession number to accession number, that's it. You try to do in the older version, it will take a little longer time. So now here 100 to 200 I have put, and then show hide columns. You just want to see, okay, if there is any problem with the authors. You just remove all that if you want. Okay. All right. Now you want to take the report. So Excel report, you just want accession number, title, author. Take this report. Then you can put a more focus, okay, whether I have entered all the, it's downloading, it's downloaded here, accession report, only the 3 fields. Okay, so this particular thing, right, question mark, it's coming because the data is already entered in Kannada, but I have not deployed that font in my PC. Okay, that is the reason why this is coming as question mark instead of the Kannada. Okay, so now all this title, author is there here. More or less, okay, if something is blank or something is not entered correctly, it becomes a lot easy to fix this. Okay. So that was the customized report. Customized statistics. Basically, you go again here, title statistics, there is a screen. Okay, I am covering only from the perspective of data quality. Okay, I'm just getting the data by category, all is there. It says NULL as the category. For particular, there is one book which doesn't have the category. So I need to go and fix it. Okay, so now exam section 2 are there. So now if for some reason you think that all the books from the exam section you have moved into the book bank, you should not have any books, right? Now there are 2 titles with 110 copies are there. So you want to go run a custom report Okay, category, you go again here. So this time here, what you do is take the category. Okay, let me go and change the category. So let me delete all this. I'll take the exam section and say search. No, it is only the exam section. 120 books, so should 110 books, no? These should be coming. So if at all, okay, now you find that all these books are already supposed to be in different section, not in the exam section. So you can go and change the category itself. So now let's come to the second part. Okay, so I'll keep this window open because this correction tools will go in that. Now let's go to the preventing the errors. How do you prevent the errors? What Easylib is going to do to help you? So let's go to the accession register. Here, this is the accession register. Here, if you see, let me make it bigger. Okay. So now there is no way you can choose another subject which is not here, right? If you want to add a subject, you just choose the same subject, whatever is in this. Okay. You want to add a vendor, you have to make sure that you have added the vendor master with name, address, phone number, and on the fly. You cannot just add it. Okay. Department again is this one. So if these validations, if they are not there, right, this drop down is not there, you would have ended up with all different data, which will not help, right? So that's how this drop downs in Easylib will help you. See, this is a catalog related drop down, and this drop down is pretty much everywhere actually. So when you are entering, let me go to the student data, members, member entry screen. Again, there are quite a few drop downs over here. Member profile, whether it's a professor, assistant professor, lecturer, and all that. Member type, this one, this one, this one. So what is the status? That's again a drop down. Branch is a drop down. Course is a branch drop down. Okay. So all these different drop downs are there here. So that is one way Easylib helps prevent those errors. No field validations. Field validation, right? You try to put some junk in this, let's say mobile, may not be, it may allow even the text also. So that's not a good example. But if you try to put something else right here, right? So now it will not save, it will give error actually. So it forces you to choose this particular date. Right? Only when you choose the date, the moment you go to the date field, this pop-up is coming. Date. It is forcing you to choose the date. It does slow down the data entry because you got to go here, choose the date and all that, but it will make sure that your data quality does not become bad. Okay, that is how we prevent this errors by doing the field validation. Then this data integrity check. What does this data integrity check is, right? If you remember, we did not have the delete option for many of these publishers, vendor and all that. The reason was that if you delete a publisher and there are some 10 books, what should happen to those books? So that is an example of a data integrity. Okay, so now whenever we are providing, we are making sure that, okay, there is a particular book available, so that's why you cannot delete that. So that's an integrity. And then suppose another example, right? Simple example, you just go here, circulation, I go, okay, and I type 100, this is the particular book, okay. Let me return this book, we find, okay, all right. So I'm in the circulation, I would define. Now I want to just read it, it's not issued to anybody. Okay, 000, 100. Okay. So now I want to issue to somebody. What happened? Nothing comes. Basically, it doesn't allow that. That's all. Now you can't issue this, no? So you have to go here. This particular student you have to put, then issue, then only it issues the book. Okay, all the detail comes. So that is the data integrity to make sure that you don't have doing the wrong operations. Okay, so help you get the data from different sources. That's an example to prevent the errors. Again, when we go to the accession register, right? The best example is different sources is this one. So you just put the ISBN, that's it. So now let me put ISBN. If this should come, so this was, if you remember, this is experimental psychology, right? So now let me put this ISBN 978 07432 6167 8. Okay, it came. Go put your strengths to work, Marcus Buckingham. Six powerful things, right? So basically make sure that the spelling mistakes, not putting the subtitle or even not having this abstract, all of this are addressed. So this is the one thing. This abstract field is a pretty big one, right? It could be 5 or 10 lines also. So if the data were not to come, you probably have missed it, right? Because entry will take about 2-3 minutes. So now automatically the software is getting this book details just by putting this ISBN. I just save it. Now it gets modified. That's all. All right. Anyway, this is a test one, so I'll feeling free to modify this. By the way, all the colleges who would like to try Easylib, you just write a mail to info@easylibsoft.com. We'll give a trial ID for you. And those of the colleges who want to use Easylib for your trial, right, until you make a final decision, just let us know. We will port your data, host it. It will be accessible like, xyz.easylib.net. Use it, 1 month, 2 months, just no issues. You just use it as a regular one. And you are happy, become a regular customer. For some reason, you couldn't get the purchase order issues. No hard feelings at all. Okay, because this is the part of any the work that we do, right? So it is not necessary that the moment you see a demo, the moment you try the software, you must give the purchase order. Not like that, right? The way I go to a shop and I try a dress and I may or may not buy, right? Definitely you have choice. So we respect your choice and then feel free to use it. And once you're satisfied, you place the purchase order for Easylib. Okay, go ahead and try it for 2 months, 3 months. That is 1 to 2 months, no issue at all. Okay, longer, definitely more approvals required. Okay, all right. So where were we? This is the correction tools. So this was help you get the data from different sources. So now the moment because you are getting the data from Union Catalog, the chances of errors are less. Now correction tools. How do I correct it? We saw this, right? You just go here, change every field. Okay. So now this is the, for example, this is another example. This is a good one I wanted to show you. So now look at this. Why this publisher did not come automatically in this yellow color? If we had made it as a free flow text, probably it would have come also. Now, what we have done is we have put our own validation here so that the publisher should be in our own Easylib database, right? So that is the reason why it is not coming. In such cases, you need to manually choose that, because either way, you get the data from Union Catalog and then fix it, put the correct data, or otherwise choose from your master data and modify this record. Okay, so you correct the individual fields. There is another one, and suppose we saw that, right, that particular exam section books, right? So these exam section books, what you can do is, if you think that you need to correct some of these things, 0, 3, 3, 8, 9, 7, 9, 8, 9, 9, 900, okay, I can just go over here to menu and data quality management, data quality improvement. I just want to correct the this category is not provided. Okay, then I have to go to another screen. Let me see. Let's do a department test. I can just put here. Suppose I want to change the department 033897 033897 033898 033899, like this. How many are you want to put it? You want to change the department to, let's say, any field, just update it. All the 3 records will be updated successfully. Okay. So now, see, we are testing the software. Again, I found one bug here, right? This is, okay, it happens. So definitely we want to fix it. So whenever you see the department correction, this is overlapping, right? So now, let me just, this is again for everybody. You just open a ticket here. So overlapping portion of screen in department bulk update in data quality. So basically what we do is, all the revenues that we generate out of this thing, right, a lot of money goes back into the development work. Okay, so this is clearly a bug. and I'll say go here, and here I can choose data quality management as the thing. I just enter it. Our team gets a notification and they'll be fixing it at. Okay, all right. So now I just updated these all things. So now two choices. So the advantage with this particular screen, right? Where was that? Here, right? You have a limited 8 or 10 rows, you can update it. So if you have a junior staff, you want to give him access to only to the update the departments, you can give him. Update the publisher, update the subject and all that. But if you want to do lot more updates, you can go to this mass update screen here. Okay, here, this is a much bigger screen and more powerful. When it comes with the power, it comes with a lot more responsibility also. So what I can do is 0338970333897. I can put 033 920. I say okay. Now let's see, all of the books are loaded here. Okay, 24 books. If I want, I can load all the 300 also. And now we found that, okay, these were exam section books, right? We want to change it, mass update. I can go here. That was a category. I just choose the category. And now there's a different category. I wanted to move from exam section to, let's say, general books. Okay, I want to move it to borrow section. Update. All those 24 got updated. That's it. So now if I go and check this, right? So now let's just for, sorry, did I close that? I'm sorry. Let me go here. Again, I take this customized report, category, exam section. Oh, it's now doing, let's give it a minute because it's also doing update. Okay, 03391 is the first one, right? The reason is that we have already updated that the previous ones up till 20, right? So in the other screen, I think, where did we update? Here, 0338997 till 920, we already updated that to a different category. Now that is why they are not showing in this exam section anymore, right? So this is how you fix this data in bulk. Bulk correction tool is available for pretty much all the fields. Actually, you see here, you can change author, bill date, bill number, everything. But you just want to make sure that only the people, only few people have access to this. Because, if you put from A to Z here, all the data can get messed up. So as it's as good as it's being powerful, it's a pretty intensive application. It can change your entire data. So you want to be very careful on this mass update. So now let's go here. We saw individual correction, bulk correction, limited intelligence tool. Okay, so I wouldn't be able to show here, but there is a routine in Easylib which will go and analyze all your. Oh, wait a minute, I can show that. Sorry, limited intelligence. So now let me go here, merge titles. So software is telling that there is a particular book, wireless communication systems and network. You got total 140 copies. What software is saying is that you have this particular book, title number, subject, they're all the copies of the same one. Why have you put it as 140 separate titles, whereas you should be having as one title with 140 copies? Let's take a simpler one, workshop technology. Okay, this particular books, they are the same one. If you want to merge both of these, what you can do, you can select both. 01454 is the master one, so I can just say 001454, right? I just say submit. Now both of them will become part of that 1454, and that wireless technology is no longer a duplicate, right? So if I were to not do that, it would have shown I have two titles of that wireless technology, but whereas it's one title, two copies, not two titles, one copy each. Okay, so this is the limited intelligence that we have built. Again, this can be expanded further. So in this database that we loaded, right, software is telling that out of the 51,000 titles, you have the potential duplicates of this 2,728. Okay, this particular book, ATB, 2 books, 4 books, like that, right? So the testing, there will be so many wireless 2 books, like that. Oh. All right, so this is the bulk correction tool, limited intelligence we saw. Then the last one. So prevent error growth. How do you do that? As we covered earlier, right? You want to get the data from the master system rather than trying to enter everything. The way you got that title, author, and all that from by putting ISBN, when you are getting the student data, try to get it directly from the master data itself. So suppose you are using this our platform, Vidyanidhi platform for your admission. Okay, so when you are using all that data is already there entered here. From here you get that import the data rather than you trying to re-enter everything. So now if you see here, right? So okay, so these are all our different workshop. By the way, this is our software that we have written, which is made available whenever you want to conduct the events. So okay, so all the events, you know, how many hours? 25 events, right? All of them are registration has happened from our software only here. Okay, so the 7 of you have given the feedback. That's wonderful. Okay, now 60 have given feedback for this managing your library with metrics. By the way, we do have the conference, sorry, the webinar, only the metrics. Okay, how do you measure the effectiveness of your library using the metrics on this Friday again at 2 o'clock. Data quality management, 90 people have registered. Wonderful. So all these names are there. So what you want to do is, when you want, suppose all of these people, we want to add them as library members, right? You export it, then you go into the Easylib screen and you import it. So menu, member, and there is a member data sheet. I can choose that particular file that I have downloaded and I can import here. Simple. So that way, whatever you have entered as your name is what gets into Easylib. So, and I don't keep changing, you know, the library staff does not change it by themselves. Okay. So that is one way you can keep the data quality always intact and not have more errors. Then similarly, the customized report, right? So again, you can take the report. We use this for identification of the errors. We also can use it to keep it controlled, monitor. And the last one is this API transfer. API basically how it means is that simple example of API is that, right? So now when you are here, you want to open a ticket, you click on support. It is calling one API of that particular the URL from our CRM system. So this is an example between two applications. So if you see the look and feel, right? So this is running on crm.easylib.net and this is running from the 49206. Two different systems, but for the user, right, they are acting as one system. The reason is that there is an interface, there is an application programming interface between these two systems. So whichever system you have, you want to implement this. The reason why I'm stressing this is that having one system to do everything that a college requires is almost impossible. Almost impossible because it just, there are so many things and each software has a specialty in certain things. So definitely what you want to do is, if you go with one large system, definitely well and good. Easylib is definitely already pretty large with so many things, including acquisitions, barcode, branch management, catalog. Then there is the examinations module, the course enrollment, attendance, exam fee, inventory, reports, feedback, members, all those things. But is there accounting here? No, right? You use Tally for that, QuickBooks for that. You can take the API from Easylib, interface with that. Okay, so that is the way you do the integration between two different systems. Okay, so that's the API part. Okay, so we are pretty much at the end of the session. So API. So where next is going? We covered this and we saw the demo of the application, the student login, and this obviously, as I said again, you can refer this a lot of references to improve your knowledge, and we look forward to having you in continuously all the webinars. Do spread the message. You can share it to your friends. We are all open, available for all the library professionals and even beyond library professionals. If you think that data quality management, you think that some of your staff may be finding it helpful, go ahead and forward this link because anyway the session is recorded, it's available. Okay, and now open to the questions. Thank you so much having you all on this webinar. Priya, open to questions.
Hello, sir. So there is no questions in the chat section, sir.
Okay. All right. Oh, again, not audible. Huh? Oh. Is it audible or?
Sir, it is audible, sir?
So some people are hearing, some people are not hearing. I'm not able to
So it
understand what is
depends
the
upon
issue.
the network issue, sir.
Oh, I see, I see. So, okay, Sham says it's audible. Okay, just plug out the microphone and then put it, or you exit out and then join back. It should be okay. So, all right. So now we are at 3:20. We have another 10 minutes. Go ahead and ask the questions. No issues. I know that this is a little bit beyond the regular day-to-day management of the library, but when you want to grow the library reputation from here to here, right? This data quality is very, very, very important, and especially some of the libraries, right? I met, um, they had not opened the OPAC. I asked them what reason. Okay, they said that look, our data quality is wrong, right? So those are the kind of questions come. But somewhere you have to make a call. So my suggestion to you all is that if you have the bad data, don't feel shy. You please tell your management, look, there are errors. It's definitely there's nothing like a perfect software. There is nothing like a perfect data, right? So you have seen this, right? I was showing this demo and I saw somewhere one error. So that's we try to make it perfect, but we saw that error, right? Like this, the data quality will always have an issue. So only thing that you want to do is, my suggestion to you, based on interaction with many people as well as seeing many organizations having the bigger data problem, is that probably you want to be open about it. Okay, you can tell that look, there are certain errors, but we are working on fixing. That will help. Okay, all right. Okay, thanks so much. Feel free to put the questions. Definitely. Okay. So Manjula Honnapnavar says thank you. Let's see who all we have. Usha says good afternoon. Sham says good afternoon. Rinku, good afternoon. Veda Shetty. Shakku, hopefully you're able to hear now. Oh, ho, ho. I don't know what is the problem. The same headphones, same thing. So the data quality, not sure why this is bad. Informative webinar. Thank you. Rinku says good. Keshav Murtidasappa says, thank you very much, sir. You gave good information of LDQM data. Okay, library data quality management. Thank you. Purushottam says, thank you. Priya P has posted the webinar feedback link. Please give the feedback. Okay, Vivek says, thank you. Brahma Sharma says, nice session. Thank you. All right. Thank you, everyone. Good to have a lot of you. I'll unshare my screen. I'll still be on the line for some time. Feel free to ask questions. Sharma ji, you are trying to say something?
No, sir. Thank you, sir. I want to say you thank you, sir. Very nice
Yes,
session.
yes. My pleasure. Thank you. Thank you. My pleasure. Good to have you on the call. Let's see who else we have. Ambika, Arun Tilak, Brahmanand Sharma ji, Champa madam is there. Gur Vastra, Thamsaveni, Jennifer Mushare, Shulingaya, Manohar, Deepak, Chandrasekhar, thank you. Good Priya, Purushottam. All right. Okay, good. Good to see a lot of our customers as well as many new faces. Thank you so much. I'm muting my microphone, but I'll be online for a while. Thank you so much. Bye. Priya, probably we can stop the recording.